Hi everyone. Welcome to my channel, Turkish series stars. All the details are in my video. If you like it, I'd love it if you gave it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. You can support me even more by clicking the join button below. Thanks, and let's watch my video. In a twist that sent digital trend trackers scrambling, Barış's Arduç, so often framed by poise, success, and a carefully curated public aura, let down the drawbridge around his feelings and allowed something achingly human to step into the spotlight. What might have remained a quiet confession, a private murmur carried only to trusted ears, unfolded instead as an on-record admission that sliced through the gloss of celebrity and left, for everyone to see, a portrait of a man still shadowed by memories, still pulled by the gravity of an old warmth. The setting was not a stage dressed for spectacle but the simple hush of a sit-down interview. Questions drifted from the professional to the intimate, and something in him shifted. There were no dramatic outbursts, no sweeping declarations, only the steadiness of a voice choosing honesty over performance. Sentences stretched out and circled back, like someone revisiting familiar rooms, touching the edges of laughter once shared, noticing how time preserves certain moments in surprising brightness. When he said the name Elçin Sangu, he didn't pronounce it like a headline. He handled it like a keepsake. It was the way someone flips open an album and lingers over a photograph that still breathes. He described afternoons that feel like echoes now, a rhythm two people once held without trying, the effortless shorthand of a partnership the audience grew to love long before the rumors ever did. Then came the sentence that detonated across headlines with a mix of tenderness and pain. If the talk about Elçin's possible marriage to the man she's been quietly linked to becomes reality, he said, it would mean, for him, the acceptance of an irreversible absence, the closing of a door he had kept, perhaps against reason, ever so slightly ajar. Not a calendar's complaint, not nostalgia for nostalgia's sake, but a frank acknowledgement that some ties don't dissolve cleanly, no matter the lights, no matter the applause. And with that, a straightforward interview transformed into something larger, a cultural moment. On one side, it exposed the softness that can live beneath a life of prestige and control. On the other, it forced a reckoning with how intimately the public engages with the private journeys of those it admires. In the spaces between his words, entire conversations bloomed about sincerity, privacy, and the life that unlived love can lead inside our memories. Social feeds ignited in minutes. The comment cascades carried contradictions with equal force. Many praised the vulnerability, calling it an act of brave candor from a man who chose to speak the simple truth so many swallow. Others argued that certain matters should stay tucked away, protected from the clamor that turns personal sorrows into trending noise. Across panels and podcasts, the experts split down their own fine lines. Some viewed the confession as a last, flickering signal to a once bright connection. Others framed it as a gentle ritual of letting go, the words that needed to be spoken before silence could finally feel complete. All the while, the figure at the center of the speculation, Elçin Sangu, remained quiet. And in an age addicted to immediate response, her stillness was interpreted 100 ways. There were claims that she chose restraint to avoid fanning a fire already loud enough. There were whispers that surprise, and perhaps discomfort, had demanded time, that she was choosing careful reflection over reactive headlines. Each passing hour without a statement became its own kind of message, and every new photo, every story frame, even the absence of a tiny heart beneath a post, was read, reread, and reinterpreted by those determined to make meaning from the smallest motions. It's impossible to ignore that what unfolded wasn't just about two people whose on-screen spark once felt infinite. It was also about the way we watch, how we knit our narratives from the gleam of public moments and the dark of what we can't see. A man long associated with discipline and accomplishment stepped out without his armor, and the paradox of fame, grand distance coupled with the illusion of intimacy, suddenly felt sharper than ever. For those who have tracked Elçin's career, a thread was pulled that reached back through performances that cemented her as one of Turkey's most luminous faces. Her work has thrived on nuance, and the mystique around her personal life made that craft feel even richer. So when Barış drew the curtain back, it didn't land as a tabloid flourish. For many, it struck a chord that resonated far beyond gossip, a reminder of the particular vulnerability fame tries, and fails, to fully hide. No wonder, then, that the talk of a wedding took on the textures of a novel. The choruses sang of proposals and promises, of cliffs and bridges, of the knife edge between reconciliation and goodbye. The audience consumed it ravenously, because it reflected the dramas that live in all of us, scaled up onto a screen large enough to believe. In the swirl of coverage, two interpretations rose to the top. One insisted that Barış was naming old ghosts so they could finally exit the room. The other suspected calculation, a considered step back toward the brightest circle of media light, using the silver hook of romance to catch attention. But regardless of motive, what lingered was the humanity of it. People recognized themselves in that tremor of voice, in that quiet admission that some loves don't vanish but instead change shape, becoming the stories we return to when the night is a little too silent. Dear viewers of Turkish series stars, we have questions for you that are bound to keep this conversation alive far beyond tonight's broadcast. Do you believe a public figure owes it to the boundary of intimacy to keep their hearts whether private, or is it a kind of responsibility, perhaps even a kindness, to speak plainly about feelings that so many others carry in secret? If you were in Elçin Sangu's position, would you answer a confession like this in public, or would you hold to silence as a shield against the whir of misinterpretation? And what about the wedding whispers? Do they deserve haste, pause, or the cool patience of caution after a revelation like this? Tell us in the comments. Your thoughts shape our work, guiding which paths we follow deeper and which threads we choose to unravel on your behalf. Here at Turkish Series Stars, we promise more than lightweight chatter. We aim for context, for the background music behind the headlines, for a clear-eyed look at how fame intersects with feeling. If you'd like to support that mission, so we can dig deeper, craft richer pieces, and bring you thoughtful, exclusive reports, please do 3 simple things. Subscribe if you haven't already, like this video if these conversations matter to you, and click the join button to become a member and unlock perks while helping us keep the lights on at Turkish Series Stars. What we witnessed today, above all else, was a reminder of how thin the veil can be between the persona and the person. It raised a real question about boundaries in the digital age, where a confession can ricochet around the world before the echo fades for the one who spoke it. It asked us to consider whether unresolved feelings continue to sculpt a life's architecture long after the scaffolding should be down. Maybe this ends with a wedding. Maybe with a calm statement. Maybe with silence that turns, in time, into ordinary forgetting. Whatever unfolds, today felt like a hand pressed briefly against the glass that separates audiences from the people they watch, a signal that there is still a heartbeat there, steady and imperfect and brave. And if you listen closely, that pulse sounds like something we all recognize, the stubborn echo of a love that doesn't quite learn how to leave. Thank you so much for watching my video. See you in the next one. Take care and goodbye.